It was tricky. It was a tricky, very volatile day yesterday. Still, the percentages were good enough to move with that volatility. If the percentages hadn't been good enough, it generally is not worth trading up and down in a day like that. But we had a good sized drop, so it's worth following it up, especially when it gains some support. I'll analyze the trades tonight. The market gave us great opportunities to analyze this week. Now it's looking very ropey today in terms of the drop, because it's getting rejected at the resistance point that it broke out of. So I'll start with Ethereum, and then I'll continue with Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum dropped out of this structure, which is a slightly ascending wedge or an ascending triangle. And last night it backtested the 55 EMA on the 4-hour, and it backtested the bottom line that it had dropped out of, and it got rejected there. The candle formation here, I'll show it to you. Hide all indicators. So the candle formation here is a bearish sign. It shows a rejection of the upwards prices, and it shows a reversal. We've yet to see that though. I'm gonna wait until volume kicks in with New York, so I'm not gonna put in a position. I've closed both my shorts and my longs last night, but I'm still looking to see what's happening today, because technically, if we get rejected here, then the next level is down. So we get rejected at the 1100, the 55 EMA, we come down, and we test the 1000, and then we might come down for the 900 approximately. So that's one of the things that can happen today. The stochastic on the 4-hour is turned down, and that's not looking good for the lift. However, following a day of such volatility, that's the first option that I told you about. Following such a day of volatility, we might actually get a reversal and moving upwards. So at the moment it's losing support on the 4-hour, but I'll change to the 1-hour. So what we can do is we can break this. If we see this bottom line break and be turned into support, so this red line here, if this red line breaks, then we have a chance of moving upwards. And moving upwards means up to the same level as the previous high. Again, I would put the target a little bit lower. We can see we're getting close to the apex of the triangle. So we would have 1, 2, 3 touches. I would be very conservative with this long target. I was looking at ETH. I'll change to the MAs now. I was looking at ETH going to the 50 on the 1-hour last night, but the 200 on the 1-hour, the 50 on the 4-hour. But neither ETH nor Bitcoin managed to do that. They seemed to have lost some steam. However, we are still above the 20 and above the 50 on the 1-hour, which is super. It still looks like, if we're looking at the MAs, it looks like it's still on its way to go to the 200. If we're looking at the wedge, we need to break this line, and then we're on our way up to the 1150, and then maybe the 1200 or the 1250. So these are the levels that I'm watching. Again, if we're looking at the levels, both the possibility with the volatility yesterday, both possibilities played out. So here we back tested the previous level, dropped down, met the 1014 target. Then we went from this one, we kept it as support, went up and met this one, and now we seem to be again, because we've back tested. I like back tests. Back tests showed me. I would always go for a back tested move rather than a straight line up with no back test. So this has been back tested, so it shows like it is still heading upwards to the 1150. The 15-minute stochastic is at the bottom. And I'm following the stochastic at the moment because the moves being so volatile, the stochastic gives me more immediate feedback. The 1 hour is at the top, and it looks like it's done. It's 3 steps up. We might be just waiting to do a peak formation here. Now, I think Michael's microphone is not off. I was checking to see if I can mute him, but that's okay. Everything's quiet now. So for Ethereum, just to summarize it, I'll be posting this later. It seems like we are going for the 1151. If the 1151 is reached, which is gaining support on the 55 EMA on the 4 hour, I say the 1200 and the 1250 are looking quite likely. So I would take a lot of profit at 1150, 70-80%. Wait to see what's happening to the 1150 support. When it's back tested or when it holds for support and it has a bottom formation, hold it, keep DCA in and keep your position for higher levels. Very nice volatility yesterday. Usually there's more sideways. I anticipate more sideways today. There might be more sideways in the London session and then starting to move again in the New York session. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin did the same. Bitcoin is one step ahead of Ethereum in terms of the structure that it had dropped out of. And I'm gonna change here to, I'm gonna show you the daily structure. It's the same as the Ethereum's 4-hour structure, but Bitcoin actually moved higher into it. So look at the size of the candle on the daily. That green candle is massive. So it's gone above the support line, and it looks like it could continue going upwards. I want to check now the 4-hour and see if there's any downturn movement. Yes, the 4-hour stochastic is looking like it wants to head down. But again, I would take that with a pinch of salt because similarly to Ethereum, it has just back tested the 55 EMA. So I would wait to see what's happening. Now, my levels of waiting and seeing are in line with what's happening here in this wedge. So we have this wedge with the top line and the bottom line that we're in, and this is the midline. When it crosses this midline upwards, we're heading for the top. When it crosses the midline downwards, we're heading for the bottom. If it breaks this bottom line again, I think we're gonna come all the way down to the 1700. I don't think there's any coming back from there. Now there still is some chance of going up. And this could be either a continuation wedge with another leg down, or it could be a reversal wedge with a lift up to the 25K. So I'm waiting in the London session. That should give me another, so this candle will close in 11 minutes. It's 10 o'clock, so another 4-hour candle, and then maybe, and then half of the other one. But I'll have more in terms of the 1-hour support, which is what I'm using to trade and monitor. So I'll have 6 more 1-hour candles along this line. If they come down and hold this line, then this might be the lift up to the top line. That might happen too. But if this line starts to break, then we're looking at a drop. Now, in terms of trade setup, I would recommend an entry along these two lines. So if you take a long position or a short position here, it does where it is right now, it could go both ways. So if you take a long position here and it goes down, you're only risking maybe 10-20%, and the profit that you'll be making on the way down, because this would be a breakout trade, would cover all of that and more. However, if you're taking, for instance, if you're taking a short, geez, guys, I'm dyspraxic and my brain's not yet awake. Anyways, if you were to take a position somewhere, let's say here, let's say you're thinking it's gonna go short from here, and it continues upwards. No, that would be a good scenario. But if you're taking a position of long from here and it comes downwards, then you would be risking more. So again, taking a position at the decision point here would minimize how much you would be willing to how much you would be losing if you were to close the trade going in the opposite position, in the opposite direction. That's what I wanted to tell you, to watch those trend lines when trading today. Again, I would give the market a little bit of time to have everything absorbed, all the volatility from yesterday's, and then I would wait for the market for the New York start move, see where that is, and then check the structure that we have there. Do we have a double bottom? Do we have a double top? How are the lines holding? Now, speaking of the 4-hour support and resistance, the reason why I'm saying, this is the 200, it's the 50 on the 4-hour and the 200 on the day. They seem to be, this one still seems to be the target. So if you're in a long from yesterday, I already took my profits here when it double topped, but you can still have your target met. I don't generally, well, I sometimes, generally I use 20%, 25% as chasers, but these days I'm not, because there's a lot of volatility. And unless I'm watching it, and I wasn't willing to watch this for the whole night to see if it holds support. But if it's during the day, I would leave 20% and watch to see if the 4-hour support holds. You'll see that as you practice as a trader, you'll develop you'll get to know the space of your flexibility. You don't have to be rigid in terms of I always do this. You have an always strategy, and then you have depending on the stage of the market, and here we are in a high volatility stage, you would be more or less conservative with your profits. And I am more conservative with my profits now, because I know being adaptable and coming in and out of trades works best. So here we have support on the 20, on the 5, on the 10, on the 4-hour. To me, there's unless this is lost, and we're heading again to test the 18,000s, 19,000s, or late 18,000s. Unless that is lost, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't reach the 200 today. So to me, the lift up seems more likely. What happens here? Let me take you again to the levels. So that is 20,600. So let's say 20,900, somewhere around here, which would be another line of support. If I'm to move this line, come on. If I'm to move this line, I'll move the thinner one right about here. Guys, look how simple this is. Come on, brain, wake up. It's this, it would be this line, a little bit below this yellow line. If I'm to bring it slightly lower, I think that's where we have the 20,500, 20,600. So here at the 200 MA on the 1 hour, the 50 MA on the 4 hour, a decision will be made. It's either turned into support if momentum helps it, or it's rejected, turned into resistance. And if that is, now I'm looking at this wedge, and I was telling Roy last night. So I can only see. I have my 3 touches to the top, 3 touches to the bottom rule. Okay, I'll keep it like this. So I will think of this as a touch. Even though it's a little bit wonky, I'll consider it like that. I'll make a super exception. This is the biggest exception in my trading TA so far. Now, even if I consider that, even if I consider this a touch, or maybe this one. Anyways, I take these two as one, this one as second. To my mind, there needs to be a third touch here, or maybe something along this line, so that when I bring the line here, it would be like that. So to my mind, for the next couple of days, the more likely scenario is up. We were rejected here at the bottom. Rejection at the bottom means you're going for the top in channels or wedges. So I would be looking for support to be held, to be tested. And if the oscillators are on my side, if the RSI is at the bottom, I would be looking for a trade entry to follow it up. So that's what I'm looking for today. Maybe with the sideways today, it's going to come down and retest the bottom line, or maybe not. Maybe it will just keep using the MAs. We can see that Bitcoin is still in the 4 hour arc. It went back into the structure, so this could be just a fake out. But then again, if I see the 4 hour closing above the 20, the next 4 hour closing above the 20, and maybe a little bit of a change here in the stochastic, but that can happen over time. I would be looking for a long entry rather than a short one. That's how I see both Ethereum and Bitcoin. They're holding support. They seem to have one more leg up to the 200 MA on the 1 hour. Let me check to see where. Yes, Ethereum's is at 1150. So they seem to both keep support and have one more leg up in them. And then when they reach that that is a major level for both of them. It's either going upwards from here to the top line, or going downwards. And I know these levels are small, and I know you could, for instance, enter a trade here, maybe take 50% of profit here, DCA in, and follow it upwards. You could do that. But the way the markets are these days, they're very volatile. Take your profits earlier, watch out for support, and go in again. Now, I'm going to do XRP very minimally. The way I'm monitoring it is on the shorter time frames rather than the longer ones. XRP is back in the wedge, and just like the Ethereum and the Bitcoin, we might see a lift up to the 33 level and then a drop down. Not unless it decides right now to break the bottom line and then go again for a drop. I'm trying to see if, yes, this line right now is like this. So I will have to adjust it because it's above it. The DXY, the dollar index, looks like it's gonna come down. It's maxed out, like it's at ridiculous levels. I'll show you the full historic view of it so that you understand what I mean by that. So we are at, in terms of dollar strength, we are almost at 2001. Those were peak levels here, but we are right now higher than 2015, higher than 2017. So it looks like it's gonna go, like it looks like it wants to pump some more, which in the long term means more down movement for crypto. So the dollar goes up, crypto goes down. They're inversely correlated. Today, though, on the daily, it's been in this ascending wedge, in this daily ascending wedge, and the stochastic on the daily is at the top. We should start seeing some down movement, some corrective movement downwards, because it can't keep just going up, up, up. The market will correct. The 4 hour looks like it's going up, so we might see some down movement for crypto in the next 4 hours or so, and then we'll see what's happening here, if the 4 hour corrected or not. The immediate is down, so there's a little bit of a mixed bag today. In terms of its direction, the shorter time frame looks like it's gonna come down. So again, both just like the levels that we're in for Bitcoin and Ethereum, both possibilities are still on the table. I would go for a long opportunity just because we're holding the levels on the 4 hour. But if we see the levels on the 4 hour break, if we see the 20 on the 4 hour, we lost the 5 for Ethereum, by the way, in the previous candle. If we lose the 20 on the 4 hour and then the 10, I'm not so sure about reaching the 50. But if we keep them, happy days. There seems to be more upwards movement. That's where we are. Do you guys have any questions? You're very welcome. So I'll see you tonight. At the trade review session. We'll be reviewing the trade setup that we made on Monday for both Ethereum and Bitcoin, and we'll look at each specific. Each trade had a signal and each trade had a trap. So we'll look at those signals and those traps so that we know how to recognize them in the future. Because it takes a lot of observation to know not to avoid the traps and not to fear them. There are particular moves in volatile markets that can catch traders out. Super. Good luck trading today. I would be, again, just I'd say my biggest word of advice is waiting for the New York session until and letting yesterday's volatility settle into the market. One more thing. The unemployment change and the unemployment rate in terms of we have some positive news. I think it's Australia. They're positive. So we have positive news so far. Again, in terms of how the market would move. Keep that in mind. Keep checking to see if there is any indication. But I would wait for the New York to see how the market has settled.